What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Unpretty. I got some cool guests with me today. I'm so excited for this. Destiny, who you will learn is just an incredible human being. And that lady over there, well, she's my wife. So
Wifey.
obviously, another, in fact, wearing the wife life shirt.
The wife life shirt.
Awesome. So these two incredible women have been friends for a long time. How long have you all been friends?
Time. It's been
20 plus years.
20.
Wow.
Okay, wait. So it's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We started in 2003.
2000.
Sophomore year?
Definitely sophomore year. Yeah.
2003.
So you're talking high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
22 years.
What high school did y'all go to?
Mira Mesa.
Mira Mesa High School.
Nice.
Marauders.
Yeah, man. Marauders.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So,
Nice.
is Polly in there?
Not yet.
No.
Come here.
You might see a really beautiful, cute dog
Come
named
here.
Polly in here too. She's a special guest.
There
So,
she
Yeah.
is.
So
Making her
what
debut.
why have y'all been friends for so long? Like, that's a long time to keep a friendship going.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the reasons why you two in particular have remained friends for so long?
Girl.
I would definitely say the loyalty,
Mm-hmm.
trust,
Mm-hmm.
respect, and honestly, just being able for her and I to be vulnerable with each other. So that helps, I think, in relationship in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Destiny always being there because I was kind of a wild child in high school. And I remember my mom being able to call Destiny and be like, can you come over and help me get my daughter in line kind of thing. And so she was like on my mom's side sometimes, but also she was there for her. And then she was also there because she was my friend.
Yeah.
So that always stuck with me too. It was like, she's a real one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
For sure.
she's there as my friend, and she's also there to help support my mom when she's like by herself. Like, what am I going to do with my child?
Yeah.
Destiny's like, it's okay. She's fine. She's just
Yeah.
a little crazy right now. It's senior year. She'll get over it.
She'll be fine.
It
Yeah.
sounds like, Destiny, you weren't afraid to like tell the truth too. Like, you weren't
Never.
never afraid to keep it real.
Yeah. I think back then for me, I was probably a little harsh compared to now. I'm more gentle on things, but that just comes with growing up. But we were like that with each other. And
Yeah.
I think that's what also helps our friendship. Like, hey, this is what I feel, maybe what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Are you okay? So checking in. I mean, we could probably go months without talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then when we do, it's like there was never no gap.
Yeah. We just
Yeah,
pick
and that's
up
how
right
I
when we
think
left
too. You
off.
kind of know that's a great relationship.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
Because there was a gap at some point, right? You
Mhm.
didn't, like, after high school, there was a point in time where you all weren't necessarily talking a lot. Right.
Yeah. There was a point where I moved away from California. I actually moved across to the East Coast to Georgia. And not intentionally, but just kind of forgot about everybody else and just kind of like started a new life. And so it was 5-ish years, I want to say,
Yeah.
before I came back. And then we reconnected, and it was, there was some hard things happening at the time, and we just picked up right where we left off.
Yeah.
It was really special. And there's only a couple people that I can say that about during that time, where it was like I didn't talk to him for a while, and then I'm back. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Do you all remember what it was like after that 5 years, whatever that time span was, that brought you back to this friendship?
Yeah.
I think just once we graduated from high school for 17, 18, life just takes a huge turn. We think we got plans, but we don't. So like for her, she moved with me. I had got my first big girl job. So my schedule was, Monday through Friday, working 9 to 5. My weekends was just pretty much whatever would happen during the weekend. But I would say in 2011, I went through a passing. And I think that is what reconnected her and I to stay more in communication. Because for that point in my life, it showed me who were my true friends, and the people that I thought were my true friends actually needed to be removed because of that tragic loss. And Cassie stayed by my side, and she was just, anytime you needed me, anytime I needed her, she was there. Late night calls, she was checking up on me all the time. Yeah, because it was a hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I told Kassandra when we were first started dating, is just how much I admired who she was as a friend to her friends. And then when I was introduced to you, I was like, oh, this makes total sense, because both of you, to me, like, exemplify what it means to be that ride or die person, that loyal person, that person that you actually can call, that has a genuine, like, love and care for who you are.
Yeah.
How did y'all become those people?
Ooh, it's a great question, actually. I don't know that I have an answer for that.
Well,
How?
we know that not everybody's like that, obviously. Des just mentioned, like, not everybody that comes into our life is necessarily somebody who's going to stick around our whole lives. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay that happens. But for the people that are like you, who are those ride or die people, you know, how did you get that way? How did you become that person?
I kind of feel like it's either in you or it's not, to be honest. I feel you can probably take life experiences and mold it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, yeah, I think it's just life experience in general, because either life experiences are going to make or break you. And when you're tested, I feel you're going to take those lessons, and that's going to help you kind of mold who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Like, treat people how you want to be treated, you know?
Yeah.
And I think with her and I, we just instantly connected when we met sophomore year.
We did.
And then we're just always together.
Always.
Like,
yeah.
I would stay the night at her house, you know. We would go to TJ. You know, we had good times back in high school.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. But we had good times. How's, you know, high school?
Yeah.
I think we had fun in high school.
We did.
And we did. Because of, I think, what really made high school fun for us was the friendship.
Yeah.
Because I was excited to go to school, you know, and it was because
for the social life part.
Social life,
I was too, for social life. Yeah. I think part of the reason why I became to be that person who was like always there was because there were people in my life who weren't always there. And I didn't want to do that to other people. So it's like, if I'm your friend and I say, like, I'm here for you, like, I genuinely mean, like, all the time, 24/7, I'm here. Yeah. Because I had that with certain people in my life, but there were others that I expected that from that weren't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that for me, I think probably, now that I think about it, is why I'm that way.
So back to those experiences, like, when you have someone or people who aren't there, it's like, ooh, I don't want that. I don't want to be that.
I don't want to make anybody else feel the way I felt. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You all know I teach high school, and I talk to them about being able to filter relationships. So the ability to invite people in, but also filter people out when they're not good for them. Do you all feel like you've been good at that? Maybe at certain times, or maybe the entire time you've been good at filtering those friendships and those people in and out of your life?
I don't think I've always been good at it. But there have been some times in my life where I'm like, oh, yeah, you need to go. I should have seen the red flags prior to this. And I think the older you get and the more experience you go through and the more friends you have, or, you know, I've become better at it. And so now it's like, I don't give people as many chances as maybe I once did.
Sure.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
And there's other people still in my life who I've given several chances to, and they're still around because like it's been so long, and they're more like family that I love. But, we're just not as close as we used to be, but they're still always going to be considered family to me. And I love them. I just keep them at a distance, maybe for my own selfish reasons. Like I don't want to be hurt again, or, I don't want to feel that way that I once felt. So like, I'm not going to completely cut you off like I have other people, but yeah.
What about you, Jess? You feel like you've always been good at filtering people in and
No.
out of your life?
No.
Yeah.
I think in high school for me, it started really there. I was really just forgiving to a lot of people. And I was, honestly, I think back then I was just more so of a people pleaser. So I would let things just slide. One thing though, I would always defend my friends. So anytime there was something, I'm like, oh no, there to support my friends. But when it comes to someone being cruel or rude to me, I was always super forgiving. But I think what happened for me, the turnaround was it took an experience, a tragic loss. And then as I got older, I think also too, I noticed some friendships. Well, actually, growing up, I've always been told like the friendships you create, they're not always going to be there. After high school, you're going to lose a lot of friendships, and some will stay. You'll be lucky to have at least 5 friends, and even if it's just 1 or 2, it's just at least you have someone solid.
Yeah.
So I think now for me, I'm like the same as Cassie. I'm just more, if you're not really for me, then yeah, let's just not prolong it. We're adults. Like, we both have a huge crazy life going on. So yeah, no, we don't need to force a friendship. That doesn't need to happen. So
yeah.
I know both of you you're givers, and that's another thing I talk to my students about, because I can tell in many of them who are givers already. And whether you call that people pleasing at some point in time, being really, really kind, being really, really forgiving, people who are givers oftentimes attract takers. And so how do you do that specifically in friendships, right? Because we're talking here about how great this friendship has been and how long you all have been friends. So what have you discovered about yourself, because both of you are givers, and like how do you respond to takers?
For me, I have always been this way. Always wanted to once people please, and just it makes me feel good to give, whatever that may be, giving my time, giving my energy, giving my support, giving whatever. But as you grow older, it really takes time and experience, and just learning it the hard way that when you are giving and giving and giving, and people aren't reciprocating that for you, you get sick of it. And so it makes you realize like, okay, well, that person I can't do that with. Doesn't mean they need to be cut out of my life, but I need to set like a boundary with. And some people you do need to completely cut out of your life, because it's at certain times it can be toxic. Like I'm giving all of my energy and more than I should, and I don't know why I'm doing it. Whether you're in a relationship and you're giving all of your everything and you're doing for them, and they're just not reciprocating it, then it's like, okay, well, this is a one-way street now, and this is not how the street's supposed to work. It's supposed to be 2 ways. So bye. But when it comes to family or friends, it's a little bit more difficult, because when it comes to family, it's like they're always going to be there, right? You can't just like cut them off and do away with them. But that's where you need to learn how to set boundaries and be a little bit selfish, and that's okay, because when you're a giver, you're being selfless and you're just doing for others. And it's okay to then be like, oh, I need to do something for myself too. I need to make a boundary. I need to to not just keep giving and giving without reciprocating something.
Yeah.
And if that's what you consider selfish, then
Hey.
call me selfish. You know, like, but I think I've just learned that over time. That's not something you can just be told. In high school, had somebody told me that, I would have been like, okay.
I wish. Yeah. I wish
But I'm
that
still
was
gonna
talked
have to
about.
like go through it to learn it.
Sure.
You know,
Life.
you can hear the same thing from all the adults in all the world tell you, but until you actually go through it, at least for me, that's how I've always learned, is going through whatever it may be and learning the lesson for myself.
I think that you can learn lessons in both ways, right? It's either
Sure.
we typically learn something by watching somebody else do it and sometimes do it wrong and learn from that, or sometimes we have to go through it to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Des, in terms of being a giver and recognizing takers, and how do you manage that?
I'm pretty much the same as Cassie. Just I love giving the support, but when I feel like a burnout, it's literally a burnout.
Yeah.
Like I used to do, just an example, like I used to host a lot of gatherings in our 20s. And I'm 37 now.
Yeah, girl.
Come
on.
Okay.
You had some epic Halloween parties. I do know.
Yeah, like we had a
some
lot of
really
parties. So
cool parties.
In my 20s, I would always host a lot of gatherings, a lot. Whether it was just housewarming or barbecues or holiday events, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I would always be the host, or I would always just be like, hey, let's get together this weekend, and I would try to get everybody together. But then I got kind of burned out when I'm like, well, why aren't my other friends kind of like reaching out to get other people together? Cassie was always great at that. She would always want to hang out. But there was other friends that I've had where it was like I was pulling teeth, or even those type of friends where I was always checking on them after so many months of no communication. Because again, after high school, things change. Life happens.
Oh
yeah.
And you you just lose contact with people. But when those friends that do stay in touch, it just time never pass. But when I'm having to like reach out to friends, and it's like pulling teeth, and it's a struggle now. To me, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just back up. Let them kind of gravitate towards me, or if they want to, they will. So I kind of got to that mindset. So now I'm just like, I have my certain group that I know who to invite. I have my certain group of people that I know I want to be around, and they reciprocate that back. Like, hey, I want to be around you. I miss you. I haven't seen you. Like, I miss you too. Like, where have you been? How's life? And it's just that huge group of people that I used to have. It dwindles down. Yeah. And I'm so happy with it though.
That's
totally.
okay.
Like, I know, like, for special events, this is my crew. This is who I want. When life happens, it's a hard time. I know who to call. And there's people that you can trust. And yeah, I'm blessed that Cassie's definitely one of them that I have. And you, I got you. Yeah. And it's just like, life experience. I think for me, it's the biggest thing is just life events that have happened. That has been a huge lesson for me.
For sure. You talked about, a little bit about like thinking you need all the friends, right? And I think that's a natural thing that happens when we're young, but then it changes as we get older. So
yes,
I'll never forget. I was walking out of an event, and a friend of a friend said something that I just will never forget. She talked about this metaphor of like a dollar. So, when you're young, you think you need 100 pennies, right? Like 100 friends, just trying to have all the friends. And especially this generation with they're like a social media generation, right? Like it's all about the subscribers and followers and how many likes and all that.
Yeah.
And so when we're young, we think we need 100 pennies. And then maybe we get a little bit older and we realize we only need 10 dimes. And then, eventually it gets to that 4 quarters. And then maybe sometimes it's just 2 50-cent pieces, right? But that that transition that happens from thinking that it's about the quantity and instead it's really about the quality, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're still okay. Just making sure. We had like a yellow screen or something. I don't know what's happening. So what's your what's your thoughts on that kind of metaphor, and how do you feel like that applies?
I
I
think
like
it
that.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I definitely felt that way in school.
Mhm.
I feel like I knew a lot of people in high school. I went to both middle schools in Mira Mesa, so I knew people from both middle schools and high school. So I felt like I was well known. I know a lot of people.
Mhm.
I had a lot of friends. And I felt like I needed that. And then I moved away and literally didn't have anybody. And then to come back and be like, oh, shoot. Okay. Now I can call on maybe 5 people, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's so okay because those 5 people give me like a really good, solid friendship versus like, hey, let's hang out on the weekends, which when you're young, that's a big deal. But when you get older, it's not about hanging out. It's about like who's reciprocating your energy and who's giving you what you need and who's checking in on you and who's really willing to, I don't know, be a good friend, be a good person in your life. And yeah, it dwindles down, but that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the small group of friends that I do have, and I've gained a lot more friends and family, obviously, through you. But yeah, I'm happier with a really solid handful of people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, I'm great with that. Yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah. Same. I kind of feel like it's almost like a marriage. For better or for worse is what I feel for friendships. Like if you can't be my go-to for the hard times in life, the good times in life, then there's an issue, you know, because a friendship is almost like it's like a marriage in a way, a marriage, because
for sure
that's your best friend, you know, that you're married to. And I need to be able to depend on my best friend and talk to my best friend for the good and the bad. So if I can't do that with certain friends, you got to rethink that friendship, you know. And with our friendship, I feel like it's been like she's been able to be honest with me. And there was a time recently where I kind of was not open to what she was telling me, but she was being very open and she was very supportive and like telling me like this, like, no, don't do it, you know. But I just wasn't in a good mindset to hear that. So for me, I felt like, no, she just doesn't want me to be happy or something. But I was in a situation that was toxic, but she was not that type of person to be like, why are you doing that? You're dumb. Or, because there's some people like that. There's friends that you say they're friends. They're not supportive and they will kind of like criticize you. Cassie was never like that with me. She was always more concerned, like, are you happy? Are you good? I don't like this because I see a change in you. So with something like that, with somebody who's honest, that's what you need, because when you're going through a hard time, you don't need to be beaten down. You need to be lifted up. So that's a huge sign, I feel, is when you got a good person in your corner is when they can do that, and vice versa. It's not just always the celebration part of life. It's the hard time. So yeah, for better or for worse.
For sure.
For me.
I heard something, I don't know, I'm not going to quote it exactly correct, but someone said, like, if you can't be there for my bad, you don't deserve my good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right?
Like,
If you're like, if it's crickets when I'm reaching out, when I'm going through something hard, you're nowhere to be found, then
you don't get to celebrate with me when I'm at the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. During the process too, during the process of you like reaching a certain level, you're leveling up in your life. Like I noticed that in social media too. Like we like to put out there the good things that happen in our life,
Of course.
and which is a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a tool, and we share the good, we share the bad. I feel it's great to do both because it's real life,
For sure.
that you're going through, and a lot of people can relate to the good and the bad, and we should be helping each other, give each other those flowers when good things are happening, And I noticed that too. It's like when you're on a level up, sometimes unfortunately those people you think are your friends, they're not clapping for you. And that's an indicator too that I see. Sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, homegirl she didn't like my post. She didn't comment. Oh,
she didn't like my post. Yeah.
But it's like you start noticing those kind of like those patterns. You know what I mean? And it's like it's disheartening, but again, that's an indicator for you to know, like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I gotta watch out for this one. So
yeah, for sure.
People always show their colors though.
100%.
Good or bad.
Yeah. The truth is always revealed, for sure.
Yeah.
And people's true colors always shine through eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever necessarily know how long it's going to take for that to happen. But
Yeah.
when they show you, I think that was Maya Angelou that said that, right? She said something like, when people show you who they are, believe them.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And the quicker you learn,
yeah,
the better off you are.
For sure.
The better off you are, for sure.
Yeah. I think when we're young, especially if you're a giver, it takes quite a long time to filter people out. And then as you get older and just have, like you both were saying, those experiences, it's like, ooh, actually, I found that out in the first 5 minutes, and we're not. I'm deleting you out my phone. I'm like,
yes,
we get it. Like it gets quicker. The filtering starts to get.
Yeah, it does.
You tend to ignore a lot of red flags when you're young.
Yeah,
you might not see them as red flags, but there's something in you that's like, okay, I'll forgive him this time.
And you get used to it.
You get used to it. It becomes more normal because you keep allowing that person or those people who are showing their red flags in your life. And so you're seeing more and more, and then you start realizing, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You pick up on it quicker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once you start paying attention to them, it gets easier to identify them later and down the road with that same person or with different people.
For sure.
And then it becomes easier.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's
once you start listening, especially to your intuition, women, girls, ladies, the intuition is real.
Oh, it is.
It's real.
So strong.
Listen to it.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's there to like keep you safe.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and both of you have mentioned it that sometimes you just have to go through it.
Yeah.
To know, to gain that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, this is a special friendship, and I'm glad. Like, I was, just talking to my beautiful wife over here about you because this has been planned for a little bit for you to come over today, and I just told her, I was like, Destiny is truly that ride or die, incredible friend.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what was happening, probably just reflecting on the year or looking at pictures or whatever was happening. And I was just thinking to myself, you showed up for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're just talking about those big moments and people are not like, clapping for you and be like, let's go. And I had, as a coach, the biggest game, of my life, of
your
my
career.
current basketball career, of being able to coach in the CIF championship game, and you showed up. And like you two are the ones that have been friends for a long time, but I've been fortunate enough now to have you in my life. And it's been so cool to watch this friendship. It's been incredible. I feel just completely fortunate to have both of you in my life. I think when you're a giver, all three of us are givers.
Yeah.
You really need to surround yourself with other givers.
100%.
Because the takers will come, and they are attracted to people like yourselves. And if you don't support yourself with other givers, that becomes like a very lonely road. Right. And so I admire y'all's friendship so much. I have not been a great, like, you two are so, I don't really have, I have friends from high school for sure, and I have people that have been in my life for a long time, but I have not been very good at like reaching out to people. That's not my strong suit. I love getting together with people, I love being with people, but you two and just how you've maintained this friendship is just really, really incredible to see. And it makes me want to be a better friend to people watching how you two are. And so I just want to end this by just saying how much I admire you both, how fortunate I feel to have you both in my life. And I know that both of you are truly, truly, truly just those people that like everyone should want in their life. Really.
Thanks,
That's
babe.
that. So if you out there and you messed up, dang, bummer for you.
Bummer for you.
But we should definitely do this again.
Yeah.
Stuff to talk about. So,
oh, we have so many topics.
Yeah, so many topics.
Oh, I'm ready.
You're gonna see them again. But
yes. I'm honored too, though. I gotta say, because you're shouting me out, but no, likewise, because I feel like your two matching is beyond words. First of all, you two,
Thanks.
and yeah, I mean, you're a positive person, and we all need that. So without someone, I feel like you being such a positive role model, that has helped me in some ways too. And yeah, you're everything.
Right?
We everything.
Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Your B-Love shirt on. Come on, B-Love.
Yes, absolutely. I guess, we'll see you next time.
Yes. We'll be back.
See ya.